Assalamualaikum. Death brings out the worst in families, and it is quite common for us to hear disputes over an inheritance among heirs of the deceased. Heartbreaking stories like this can be avoided if Hibah is prepared when the owner of the asset was still alive. So today we would like to share something important to all of you so that we can gain knowledge together. Hibah. What is Hibah? Hibah is an important instrument in property planning according to Islamic law. Hibah is the grant of property that occurs during the lifetime of a hibah provider. It was encouraged in Islam as if it done properly and in accordance with the requirement of Sharia can prevent disputes and property squabble. Hibah can also help relatives who are in need. As you can see it here, some evidence from Al-Quran, which Hibah is a practice that is favorable, which means sunnah, in Islam, especially to the immediate family. This practice is based on Al-Quran, As-Sunnah, and Ijma.
So we move to the next, the definition and the meaning of Hibah. So the act of voluntarily granting ownership of property from one party to another when the settler is left without asking for anything in return. Besides, not meant to glorify anybody and given by reciting an ijab and kabul or any such expression. So hibah is encouraged in Islam as Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala commanded, and in giving away one's property in the love of him to one kinsman, the orphan, the poor, and the wayfarer, and to those who ask for help, and in freeing the necks of slave, and in establishing prayer and dispensing the zakah. Surah Al-Baqarah. So hibah simply means a gift. It is a gift of movable or immovable property that occurs during the life of the settler.
Okay, let's move to the pillars and condition of hibah. There are 4 pillars and we move it one by one. The first one is hibah provider, or we call it al-wahib. A hibah provider must be a person of worthiness with a sound mind, have attained puberty or baligh, and obeys the rules. A hibah provider must be a genuine owner of the items intended for hibah. As a property owner has full authority over their property, hibah can be made an unlimited rate and be given to anybody they pleases, including non-Muslim, as long as the intention does not violate Islamic law. The second one is hibah recipient, or al-mawhub lahu. A hibah recipient can be anyone as long as they have the capability to own the property, either accountable, or we call it mukallaf, or non-mukallaf. If the hibah recipient is not a mukallaf, such as has not reached puberty or disabled, the hibah is to be given to a guardian or trustee on their behalf. The hibah recipient must be received the hibah property and has the authority to hold on the property. In the other words, ownership and control over the property must be given to the hibah recipient. Next is good and property for hibah. We call it al-mawhub. Goods or property to be given as hibah should meet the following condition. The first one is it must be halal, and the type of goods or property has valued according to the Islamic law, and the property belongs to the hibah provider. The ownership also is transferable, and the goods also must exist during the time of hibah. For example, a hibah is void on non-existing goods or property, such as giving an unborn calf. The property is not connected to the hibah provider's property, which cannot be spirit, such as trees, plants, and buildings, cannot be for hibah. And the last one is sigoh, which contract for ijab and grant for kabul. Sigoh hibah is a pronouncement or an act that means giving and receiving of hibah. It is subject to the following condition. The first one is there are continuous and similarities between ijab and kabul. No specific conditions are imposed. Not conditioned to a specific period time. A hibah is conditioned to a specific time period, such as in the case of al-umrah and al-rukbah is legally binding, but the said condition is void. Okay, how it operates? From Islamic jurist perspective, the Hanafi and Shafi'i schools describe hibah is a voluntary contract that result in uncompensated transfer of ownership between individuals. Some Hanafi jurists also said Hibah in more detail as a contract initiated by a qualified party to convey his ownership of existence and deliverable properties to another without compensation. From this definition, it is noticeable that in the early days, the concept of Hibah centers on one individual as a donor. However, the current Hibah practices have been extended to institutions and organizations such as bank and trustee institution. Similarly, the one who would be the Hibah receiver is not limited to an individual but also corporations. Traditionally, Hibah served as a means to distribute property with the purpose to create mutual love and affections among Muslims and family members and helping those who are in need. In the current comprehensive Islamic financial system, other than being widely applied to the Islamic banking products, Hibah has evolved to become a vital instrument in Islamic wealth management and estate planning. It also provides solutions for persons who are concerned about the distribution of the property after death to achieve several personal aims. How Hibah can be cancelled? When a complete Hibah contract meets the term and condition and there has been surrender and acceptance of good, then the property rightfully belongs to the Hibah recipient even without repayment. However, whether or not the said Hibah can be withdrawn has caused disagreement among fuqaha as follows. The first one is according to the Hanafi sectors. A Hibah provider can withdraw the Hibah, but it is unfavorable, which means makruh, to withdraw a Hibah that has been given away, and the person may fasakh the Hibah even though the handover has occurred, unless the Hibah was made with repayment. Okay, the second one is the opinion of Shafi'i, Hanbali sectors, and some experts from Maliki sectors. They said that Hibah withdrawals may occur solely with ijab and qabul. However, when accompanied by the delivery and acceptance of good, then the Hibah cannot be withdrawn unless the Hibah is made by the family members or father, including mother, grandfather, and so on, to the children, for as long as the property is not related to other people. Next is according to the Imam Ahmad and Zahiri sector. Hibah providers are prohibited or haram from withdrawing a Hibah unless a Hibah by the father to his children. This was on Prophet Muhammad SAW saying, meaning, one who gets back his gift is like a dog which vomits and then swallows that vomit. By Al-Bukhari and Muslim.
So let's talk about the current Sharia practice in banking and finance. So the application of Hibah has been extended as a sort of supporting financial instrument inside the major Islamic financial service that offered by certain Islamic financial institutions in modern Malaysian practice. So this sort of Hibah is known as a commercial Hibah because it is linked to other types of main Sharia-based contract of product or service, such as the contract of sales, purchase, lease, company, kafalah, profit and loss sharing, saving, including takaful product. So the act of an Islamic financial institution offering Hibah to its customer is done in the form of an incentive, dividend, or consolation to encourage them to maintain depositing their money in Islamic banking account. So, however, it is offered unilaterally by the respective Islamic banks or a discretionary basis and must not be based on interest, unlike the benefits provided under the conventional accounts. So, to make sure that the Islamic financial institutions' practice of Hibah are based on Sharia principle, the specific reference on the application of Hibah as financial instrument has been issued by Bank Negara Malaysia, which is effective since 31 July 2018. So by looking in this era, the practice of Hibah adopted by large number of Islamic financial institutions nowadays. So this study aims to investigate and determine if the use of hibah as a financial instrument is compatible with the existing civil and Sharia laws in Malaysia. But therefore, Malaysia has two methods for allowing hibah to be practiced. Firstly, for the assets wealth management, and secondly, for the Islamic banking product and service as a supporting financial instrument. So, in terms of the first application, hibah has long been used and accepted as a way for a Muslim assets to be distributed after his death. So, the case of Kia versus Som in 1953 was found to be the first case that recorded that the application of hibah in the 1950. In this case, the issue of hibah was raised by disputed party in relation to the distribution of Muslim Malays asset among the blood relationship, such as between father and sons, husband and wife, grandfather and grandson, and so forth. So the second type of hibah can be referred to as the modern concept of hibah, and it is applied as an Islamic financial supporting instrument for the Islamic banking and takaful product as offered by Islamic financial institutions. So the hibah is also known as commercial hibah due to its function and purpose as a financial instrument in the Islamic financial system. So being a financial instrument, it is therefore under the purview of the federal law, as the Islamic financial institution are governed under item 1. So this one in the 9th schedule of the federal constitution. So currently it is observed that a hibah can be applied together with other contracts which are being offered at the banking and financial institution, such as the contract of sales, lease, kafalah, company, loan, and saving. So in conclusion, the application of hibah as a financial instrument in the Islamic banking and takaful product and service is well recognized and accepted by the law in Malaysia. Also, it is clear that a specific law relating to the provision of hibah and its administration is required. So the existing of such specific law will be able to reduce confusion and uphold the integrity of Sharia court and strengthen its credibility in the community when deciding issue on hibah. So in addition, it can be a guide to people who wish to practice comprehensive personal hibah and manage their wealth in a more orderly and organized manner.